Number 2 in L.A., this is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Peter King coming up in 10 minutes. Trent Dilfer and the remarkable Rookie of the Year candidate for defense safety, Derwin James of the Chargers, who has been everything the Chargers thought he would be and more. By the way, we had a breaking story today. The Vikings fired their offensive coordinator, John DeFilippo. He was with Carson Wentz, Super Bowl winning Eagles last year. They fired him. Minnesota had to fire somebody after that egg they laid last night. So they fired John DeFilippo. Philadelphia, go hire him. Okay, Josh McDaniels of the Patriots went to the Broncos and got fired. And what did New England do? Got on the phone, brought him right back. Go get John DeFilippo. Carson Wentz is an all-time talent. Okay, he's an all-time talent. He's lost offensive linemen this year, running backs. There's injuries to wide receiver. Go get Carson Wentz, his guy. You're not going to get Frank Reich back. Go get DeFilippo. Just make room for him. Okay, Minnesota's got to pay him. You don't even have to pay him. You know, give him a couple coupons to a local Sizzler. You get him. But go get that guy. Because let me tell you something. Colts wasted a lot of years not getting the right people to coach Andrew Luck. Now they got the right people coaching him. What do you know? Carson Wentz is Andrew Luck. This is a 10-year gold bar. All right, here we go. It's the Herd hierarchy. I pay way too much attention to this stuff. I've got no social life. Here we go.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
Not sure they're one of the best teams, but they're one of the best stories. I'm going to give the Colts number 10. They've won 6 of 7. Yes, Frank Reich has been great. Yes, Andrew Luck is setting all personal bests. But what is the most remarkable thing about this story is, since week 7, they're the best defense in the league, which I don't even know how it's possible. They have Darius Leonard and one corner I like. This team is so cohesive defensively and plays so hard. And I think this is one of the great stories in the league. Eric Ebron was a bust, I thought. No longer. He and Travis Kelce are tearing the league up. Andrew Luck's on fire. You talk about a culture that's changed in the last several months. They are all headed in the same direction. One of the first teams I turn on every Sunday is the Colts. I got them at 10.
Number 9.
Ravens, again, what's their identity? It's very important for teams to have an identity. They were swimming around until Lamar Jackson took over, and then they said, you know what? We're going to play good defense. We got the players, and we're going to run the football. And since week 11, they lead the league in rushing. Okay, they had all the same players. Lamar Jackson has some limitations. He doesn't know, he's not Flacco. Hadn't been in this league for a decade. But they figured out we play defense. They're number 1 in scoring defense, and we run the football since week 11. They're not glamorous. Don't have a lot of superstars, but they have figured out what they are, and man, they had every chance to go into Kansas City and win. They had a real shot at that game. Ravens at 9.
Number 8.
I like the Seahawks. I just asked Greg Jennings. I believe it. I think this is a wild card team. There's 1 or 2 wild card teams every year that I think could win the Super Bowl. Maybe not likely, but could. Seattle's it. Again, turnover differential plus 11, second in the league. Bobby Wagner's their star defensively. They're very young defensively, but they, again, play cohesively. They're 5th and 3rd down defense, so they get you off the field, and they run the football. Again, you don't have to be great at everything in this league, but you got to know what you are. Nobody in this, I could argue Baltimore and Seattle have more limitations, but know exactly what they are. I have the Seahawks at 8.
Number 7.
Dallas Cowboys. Listen, I love the Amari Cooper trade. I didn't love it this much. I didn't think he was going to lead the NFL in TDs and yards since he arrived. He has given them a legitimate number 1 receiver. I never bought into the stories that Amari Cooper didn't work hard. I made one call to a college football coach who had Amari Cooper. I said, how's his work ethic? He's like, fantastic. Why? I said, because there are stories out there Amari Cooper doesn't work hard. He's like, you got to be kidding me. He was the hardest worker we had in the team. High football IQ. He has elevated Dak. Their front seven's fantastic. They run the football. I do think their passing game has a lower ceiling. So what? So does Chicago. I like them. Cowboys at 7.
Number 6.
New England Patriots. Listen, Sunday was a mess. It's Miami. They don't play well in Miami. And they have not been a great road team. Here's what I would say about New England. Do they have the best coach? Yeah. Do they have the best pre-snap quarterback? Yeah. Are they situationally usually great? Yeah. And they will play a home playoff game. Now, this team, the margins are shrinking. They're 2-4 this year when they don't rush for 100 yards. They really need Burkhead, James White, and Sony Michel to be healthy. They're not beating the Kansas City Chiefs or a Chargers if they're dinged up in the backfield. Again, like Dallas, nobody wants to admit this, but there's kind of a certain way New England has to win now. Running backs are healthy. Little home field would help. I got him at 6.
Number 5.
I've been cool on the Rams for over a month. Jared Goff, multiple turnovers in 3 straight games. I think they miss wide receiver Cooper Kupp. I think their defense too often freelances with Marcus Peters sometimes doing his own thing. Same with Ndamukong Suh. That was the first game without an offensive touchdown since Sean McVay took over. Now, I still like the Rams. I have them at 5. I think NFL coaching's really good, and people can catch up the tricks. I think some of the things they do without Cooper Kupp, they can't do at the same level. And people, they're not great when they get out of their 72-degree palm tree comfort zone. You put them in New Orleans with noise. You put them in Chicago with cold. Not the same offense. Rams at 5.
Number 4.
Put the Bears ahead of them because they beat them, and not just beat them, they physically pushed them around. Listen, they're the only team in the NFL top 5 in scoring defense, total defense, takeaways. They're first, by the way, in that. Again, I'm not a Mitch Trubisky fan. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I think Matt Nagy is my coach of the year in the NFL. I think he's done an unbelievable job with a very limited quarterback. But I will say this. Again, they know what they are. What's funny about this list, 5 of the teams on my list are considered high offensive octane teams. 5 play defense. Chicago's a defensive story. I have the Bears at 4.
Number 3.
Chargers. They've won 9 of their last 10. Again, you think of this team as an offensive juggernaut, and they are loaded at receiver and incredibly deep at running back. But with Joey Bosa back and Derwin James at safety and Ingram, this is a real defense. And they have allowed, since week 5, 16 points a game. That's first in the NFL. So don't fall in love with Phillip Rivers having a career year. They can go over the top and beat you, but they get you off the field, and they are one of the few teams in the NFL. They'll just bring 4 guys, no blitzes. They don't blitz much, and they get a tremendous pass rush with 4 guys and no blitzing. That is a huge edge in the NFL.
Number 2.
Saints, I'm taking them out of the number 1 chair. I still love them. I still think they'll probably end up in the Super Bowl. Is it arm fatigue? Drew has not played well last couple of weeks. It's very possible. Got a little arm fatigue. These are long seasons. You can have emotional fatigue. Teams, there's different arcs. Rams and Saints felt like about 4 weeks ago they peaked. And they're not quite the same, but their defense, let's not kid yourself. They play real defense here. This is a team that's very, very hard to run on. And if you play great run defense and you have to play Dallas, that's going to be a huge edge. If you have to play the Rams again, it's going to be a huge edge. Saints at 2.
Number 1.
I haven't put the Chiefs at number 1, I don't think, this season. But I thought the Baltimore win impressed me because coming up, you have the Chargers. And there wasn't a single Kansas City player, and this is a young roster, that wasn't looking at that Thursday night game and thinking, here come the Chargers. And they beat a Baltimore team, a good team. Go ask Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh's got New England left next. How did Pittsburgh look against Oakland in the sandwich game? They looked like crud. This was a very easy game to lose. They've scored 25 points in every game. Mahomes is going to win the MVP. They are a great story. He can be a little erratic. He can make some throws that I wince at. But he's got a lot of Carson Wentz in him. That Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz do stuff you just can't teach. Like no-look passes. Like you just can't teach a lot of what Patrick Mahomes does. And I think Andy Reid's got a real shot to win his first Super Bowl. All right, Peter King, Trent Dilfer, and before you rip the NFL officials, I'll defend them a little. That's coming up. In sports, a big trade can make or break a season. Take the Dallas Cowboys. The Amari Cooper move got a lot of heat, but it's turned the fortunes of Dallas around. A trade can make or break you. A good one can mean a championship.